It was the best of times and the worst of times for Jacob Hayes, but he's going to try to make the best of it. Hayes, out of North Carolina, has finally locked down the Amsoil Arenacross Championship because of the race to the championship playoff-style format. The series is always close. A couple of years ago, he went into the Arenacross finale battling with Kyle Regal. They were essentially tied on points. Regal made a name for himself, not in a good way, by trying to take Regal out on the first lap of one of the main events, and instead he actually took out his own motorcycle, and that ended his championship bid. It took 2 more seasons to finally get back to that level. This year, he and Chris Blose battling it out for the title going into the Vegas finale, and this time Hayes came out on top. So that's great. He's Arenacross champion. That's the good news. The bad? Arenacross is dead. Arenacross is done. Arenacross is no more. Now, this was a rumor we had heard about for several months that the series was probably not going to come back next year. No one was able to officially confirm or deny this. And then this week, the word came out barely, buried in a press release about the great numbers of growth that Supercross showed this year, was a quick sentence that says, Amsoil Arenacross transitions into the Supercross Futures events, which are the amateur Supercross events, which take place on Sunday. They had 4 of them this year. They'll have 8 of them next year. So for folks trying to earn their road to Supercross points, for young amateurs or even vet riders who just want to get the experience of racing indoors, those Supercross events will provide that. But the one thing that goes away is a points-paying series of the level of Arenacross. Next year we'll have Supercross. Next year we won't have an Arenacross champion. So what do you do if you're Jacob Hayes? Well, you take advantage of the opportunity that you have to take advantage of. He's got the number 1 plate. He has to find a ride in Supercross, and that's his goal. The question is, of course, how good can he be? What level of team wants to sign him? No one really knows because very few people pay attention to Arenacross. Now, we can sit here and cry all we want about that series being gone, and it is going to be a hardship. There's a lot of riders and a lot of people who have made their living in that series for a long, long time. But look, I've been to Arenacross races. I even was the TV host for that series for several years. The series wasn't raking it in. It wasn't packing the arenas. And to Feld's credit, they tried really, really hard the last couple of years to come up with any possible gimmick they could to try to make it grow. It wasn't huge previously. The changes they made didn't really make it any bigger. They threw a ton of stuff at the series. The needle never really moved. So now Arenacross is gone. Now, sounds to me like we might need to get Davey on the phone and get a little history lesson on how Arenacross began, because even I honestly have no idea, because again, unlike Supercross, people aren't paying attention as much as they are to this series. But we know that Jacob Hayes and many other riders are affected. So what's Jacob Hayes like? Well, I actually found out a couple months ago, one of my buddies who does videos for the Arenacross series, Danny Stewart, was in town. He was hanging out with Hayes. He said, hey, meet us for lunch. Next thing I know, we're talking about takeouts, block passes, T-bones, ramming, ghost riding. The conversation was hilarious, but it was totally normal for Arenacross. And I was like, man, I got to record this. And then as fate would have it, Hayes goes on to win the title. And this week, we get the news that Arenacross is closing up shop. So I thought this was a perfect topic for this week's Racer X Exhaust podcast, all brought to you by Yoshimura with 63 years of research and development for 4-stroke exhaust systems. Check them out. Anything you need for your dirt bike, your street bike, your ATV, go to yoshimura-rd.com. Big thanks to those folks for pushing us into making this podcast. Also, check out racerxbrand.com. I told you we were going to have some very unique new shirts, and we came up with another one this week with the Aaron Plessinger-inspired Outstandable shirt. So check it out right now at racerxbrand.com. We've got a whole new spring lineup in there as well. The Outstandable t-shirt is absolutely outstanding and incredible, as is the linchpin, the main part of this podcast, which is coming up right now. Podcast, 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 podcast. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I hope you listen all the way through to this episode because Hayes is hilarious. He does not care. He just says whatever. I love it, man. And at the end, it starts to really go off the rails, and we start talking about dating, taking chicks out with moto vans, having your girls defend you on social media to your own detriment, how he prayed and spoke to the tires on his van to get him to the races, and we also tried to convince him to do more partying with Stank Dog. So this is all good stuff. You'll learn how different life is on the Arenacross side. You'll also learn that Jacob, if you might not know this, was actually a very successful amateur rider, battling with some guys you might have heard of, like Jason Anderson and Eli Tomac, and that's why he wants to get back to Supercross so bad, because he feels like those are the riders that he's used to battling with and grew up battling with, and he wants to be part of that tour again. I also found it funny that Hayes said he was very comfortable when he first went to Arenacross with aggressive riding because he grew up racing Anderson, and that will teach you that. I thought that was funny. By the way, Hayes spends most of the year working in North Carolina, riding with guys like Cooper Webb and Aaron Plessinger when they go to Webb's place here in Carolina, and he's being somewhat coy and maybe modest on this podcast, but from what I've heard other people say, he can run the pace of those guys, not just on a Supercross track, by the way, but outdoors as well. As he alludes to over and over, he's just waiting for his chance to show what he can do outside of Arenacross. So enjoy this one. Jacob Hayes, the final ever Arenacross champion. Hey, we are joined by Jacob Hayes. I got good news and bad news for you, bro. You're the Arenacross champ.
What's that?
Arenacross champ. That's great.
Yeah, that's good news.
That's the good news, but there is some bad news. I don't know if you heard this, but I don't know if Arenacross is going to return next year. I don't know if you've heard this. Have you heard this?
Yeah, no. I was told by Denny Bart. Let me make sure I get this right.
Okay.
After Reno. Yes, after Reno.
Okay, so this wasn't...
it was all said and done.
Okay. This was not all season long, because I'd heard rumors, and you probably heard rumors, but it wasn't from day one or race one that you knew, this might not come back.
I want to say I heard it. We were in Madison, Wisconsin, and I heard some people talking that it wasn't going to come back, and I talked to Denny. I was like, hey, what's this all about? And he was pretty firm that it was, and then I talked to a couple people that put on the show at Arenacross, and they're like, no, I haven't heard that. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just a rumor swirling around, but no, coming after Reno, Denny sat me down. He's like, look, this is it. It's not coming back. So yeah, it was a little bit hard to hear, but I mean, it was a great chapter of my life. But I'm honestly ready to move on. It's kind of bittersweet for me to win the last championship ever in Arenacross, but like I said, I'm honestly kind of relieved because I've been there, kind of grounded there for 4 or 5 years now, but I'm ready to make my move to Supercross.
Yeah, what do you think, man? Would that have been something you were working for or shopping for anyway? I mean, now you have to, but that I was assuming for most guys at Arenacross, they want to at least give this a shot. So you probably would have been entertaining this anyway.
It's kind of wild. Over my Arenacross career, ever since I started in 2014 until now, I've talked to several teams at different times about going to race at Supercross, and I don't know whether it be bad timing, injuries, or they just picked another rider. I just couldn't ever make the jump. And now it's like, there's no more Arenacross. Hey, guys, I'm ready to rock and roll. Like, I already see myself as one of the guys. I just haven't been there attending the events.
Yeah. And you do have a little bit of Supercross. Like, I remember you being out there. It's not like you haven't done it at all. Even you actually pursued it before you made the full-time I'm going to be an Arenacross guy move. Like, you tried it right out of the amateurs like everybody else, didn't you?
No. I went to, let's see.
Didn't you go to one and break your collarbone or something, like, right off the rip?
Yep. Literally, right out of practice, I went out there and rookie mistake, cased a triple out of a rhythm and ended into the berm, and that was it for me. So I basically did probably a couple laps in practice. So I don't know if that counts as you try one or not.
Oh, okay. You were there. You were there, and you intended to race.
Yeah, the goal was to race, but practice mistake allowed me not to race.
Right. And then Arenacross, I mean, that's an alternative, but had you done some of it growing up? Was it completely brand new when you jumped in? Or I know that Greensboro and some of the other races in your area are pretty big, so had you actually ridden Arenacross races before, just at a different level?
Yeah, just growing up as an amateur, I always would go to some of the amateur days and do some of that. But no, I mean, I felt my amateur career went well, and just a couple mistakes on the latter part of my amateur career held me back from taking that next step to where I just kind of found myself lost in 2012 and 13, just honestly trying to scrape together anything I could to go ride dirt bikes. And it was just, I'm not going to lie, it was tough, especially just having all the support as an amateur to having none. And then I think in 2013, I was just like, gosh, I really don't know if I can continue doing this because, I mean, I had no money, had no job. I mean, I wasn't making any money riding dirt bikes. So my buddy was like, look, you know, I'm not going to give up on you. Let's try to get a bike together, and we'll take you to the first 4 Arenacrosses and see how you do. And I think I did an interview with, it might not have been you, but someone on Racer X.
Oh,
right
yeah.
Before I did Arenacross in 14, I said, hey, I want to go in there and bang bars with the best, Tyler Bowers. I mean, I'd seen he'd been in there cleaning the house, so I think everyone kind of laughed at me and thought, who's this kid? He's just some amateur. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And, yeah, I went into round 1 and definitely made a statement, that's for sure, and brought myself back on the map.
Yeah, so I actually even found it here. Yeah, this is from November of 2013, and it was my guy Chase Stallo did the interview, and we actually did get a chuckle out of it. We were like, dude, I mean, we like it in the media. We like that kind of thing when a guy's like coming in, giving us some good quotes. But we're like, man, Bauer's probably not going to be happy. Yeah, he said, I feel like I have the speed to run with him. I want to be consistent and show that I can run up front with him. Hopefully I'll be there, and hopefully I'll be able to challenge for the title at the last few rounds. And at that point, Bowers was like a machine in Arenacross, and we're literally like, dude, don't poke the bear. Be careful, dude. Be careful. But, dude, you poked. You poked in the very first race.
I did. I went in there and did a lot of poking, and honestly came out my rookie season second in points. So I feel like I held up to my end of the bargain.
You did, yeah. I mean, when I saw those clips in the very first race and then the results all year, we're like, dude, no more laughing. Like, he actually did exactly what he said he was going to do. I mean, was this just confidence, or was this just, hey, I don't know where I'm going to stack up. I'm not going to just not try. Or did you really legitimately somehow have an idea where you might stack up?
No, I did, like I said, off local races, Arenacross races, and some of the guys would come do it. And, I mean, this is going to sound, I don't know how this is going to sound, and I would kind of work them at the local events. But, you know, that's kind of like my home territory, so where you're all comfortable and everything's gelling really good. So that was kind of easy. So I knew where I wanted to be, so I went to the first round with an open mind. And, I mean, like I said, it was honestly, my back was up against the wall, and it was now or never. Like, if I didn't make it happen, then the dirt bike dream was going to go down the drains, and I was going to have to go get a job. So that didn't sound too good to me at the moment.
You were aggressive right off the rip, again, poking the bear. But is that the type of thing that you're, like, okay with? Were you just like, it's Arenacross, I got to adjust? Or are you always the kind of guy that was like, banging bars, it's whatever, I'm cool with it?
I don't know. I mean, I grew up racing Anderson, which he is a very aggressive rider, so I got pushed around by him quite a bit. And then, you know, I raced Bogle and Tomac and all those guys. They were my age group, so to see all of them move on and have successful careers in Supercross, it was hard. I mean, I had a chip on my shoulder, so I was going in there to prove a point, like, hey, guys, you know I didn't take that step and go right into Supercross, but I'm still the real deal, and it was just, like I said, kind of a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, and I do remember you as an amateur. You were solid, like I'm looking right here, 458. You got second overall behind Bogle, ahead of Jesse Nelson. And it actually ahead of Gavin Faith, who'd won the Arenacross title before. Yeah, you were right there in the mix with those guys. So what do you think was the difference that, you know, it's so close. It's like 3 or 4 guys maybe get the good ride each year, and you must have been the 4th guy in that case. What do you think was the difference?
Yeah, like I said, I feel like there was a couple bad decisions that were out of my control that I'd really rather not get into right there at the end that held me back from making that next step. And like I said, after that, you know, after Loretta's was over in 2011, you're just kind of sitting there like, okay, you know, what do I do now? And I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was just a kid, and I was trying to figure it out as I went along. And like I said, just trying to find anything I could to ride in 2012 and 13. And then at the end of 13, I was just like, look, I have nothing left. You know what I mean? I was riding people's dirt bikes that they were lending to me. I really didn't have anything solid. So a buddy bought a motorcycle for me, and that's how we got going in Arenacross.
So, yeah, maybe some decisions you made weren't the right ones, but speed-wise, talent-wise, you're saying these are some huge names now who've gone on to great success that you've like, yeah, I've raced with these guys before. I can race with them. I'm not, 20 positions behind them every time I line up at the gate going back when you were a kid. The skills are there. The talent's there.
Yes, no, definitely. Like I said, I feel like I'm already there at Supercross. I feel like I'm already right there with the guys. I just haven't been attending. You know what I mean? I'm watching on TV, which is really hard to do, honestly. Like, sometimes I sit there and I'm watching some of the main event, and I'm like, I'm over this. I can't watch this anymore. It frustrates me so bad because, like I said, I grew up racing all those guys, and I see myself right there in the mix, and I just haven't been attending.
Did you ever get a chance to even dabble here and there, like during an off weekend of Arenacross? Or, I mean, the series pretty much completely overlap these days. And did you ever even get a chance to do that?
So this year we obviously had, I want to say it was Tampa, Atlanta, and Daytona off.
Yep.
And to start the season out, I was talking about doing it, but then we came to find out that I had a broken scapula.
Oh.
So I raced the first 4 rounds with a broken scapula, and I wasn't able to do much riding in between. I want to say maybe, half a day here and there. So I wasn't prepared, and I feel with the kind of speed that I bring to the table, I don't want to go there unprepared. When it is time to go to Supercross, I want to go there and fight for the podium and fight for the wins. I'm not going there just to be another guy on the gate. So I didn't feel it was the right decision for me to go to Tampa, Atlanta, or Daytona because I didn't feel physically I was in the conditioning I needed to be in to go fight for those positions.
No, and I get it because, let's be honest, in the back of your mind, that's an audition. If you're going to go to 3 Supercrosses, if it doesn't go well because you're not prepared, people are going to be like, yep, he's not good enough to race Supercross. So you're probably under a lot of pressure there. Like, it's got to go well or don't do it, or you could be hurting yourself in the future. Yep. Right, definitely. And I feel really good on Supercross. I mean, we go out to California and do all of our preseason testing at the Cali track and ride with all the Cali boys and stuff like that. And I honestly feel better on a Supercross track. I don't know, that sounds weird, but I like the technical, little bit longer lap times. I think that plays into my strengths because I really pride myself on physical fitness and stuff like that. So, I really enjoy the Supercross stuff. Okay, so this season, let's get into that in Arenacross. Every year you're fast. Seems like you have injuries, unfortunately. But there was that one year where we went down to the finale with you and Kyle Regal. There was a lot of attention because they were running it. I believe that was the first time we had Arenacross Friday night before Supercross. You and Regal were battling. And, bro, you put yourself on the map with one of the all-time block pass attempts ever. Again, we love that in our line of business. It was exciting. You tried to knock Regal down, and it didn't quite work. But, dude, you definitely went for it. I'll give you credit on that one.
Yeah, that was a big regret on my part. I honestly regret that decision, and I feel if I would have been a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser, I could have just hung there right behind him, and I don't know how the rest of the main event would have played out. Right. But like I said, that was a big regret on my end. I've learned a lot since then, and I felt that I couldn't leave Arenacross until I finished the job, you know what I mean, for myself. Like, I just felt like I was so close right there, and then to go out like that with a bonehead move, I just couldn't leave Arenacross knowing that I had a title in me, you know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you were right there that year, and every other year I think you ended up having injuries kind of prevent you from getting back to that position, right?
Right, yes. In the very next year, I ended up breaking my ankle, a small break to my ankle in one of the championship rounds, so I was just kind of gimping through there, and then 17, I obviously missed the whole season due to another ankle injury right off the bat. But yeah, it was, like I said, I can't really say much more about it. It was a bonehead move, and it definitely put me on the map as all-time takeout artist, I guess you could say.
I like that you owned it though, and you're still owning it now. Like even if you're saying it was a mistake, you're like, yeah, I was going for it. Like it wasn't like you were pretending that you missed your rear brake or something coming into the corner like some guys do.
No. It was. This is gonna sound bad too, but yeah, it was all. I guess I lined it up in my head right there as we come through the whoops. It was like a split-second decision, and I just went for it, dude. I mean, the title was on the line, and I thought I had to beat him to win the title. I didn't know I could just hang back and finish right behind him. I thought I had to beat him to win the title, and I saw my opportunity right there, so I just sent it.
Wait a minute. You seriously didn't even know the exact point situation going into that main event?
Oh, no, I did not. I think we were all so fired up and just didn't really I can't really even explain to you what was going on in between main events, but no, going to the line, I thought that I had to beat him to win the title because let's say I would have finished right behind him and we would have tied. I thought he would have won the tiebreaker,
right?
But I had more main events wins, so I would have won the tiebreaker.
You know, it's interesting to hear that. When there's close championships and everyone gets an entire week on the outside, people in my position or the fans, they run through every scenario in their mind as if these teams have like NFL coaches with like all these charts and graphs and photos. And more often than not, I hear from the riders and teams that are like, dude, we're just racing. Like, we don't have strategies, team tactics, all these plans, pit boards. Heck, we can't even read the pit boards. I don't even think they even have them in Arenacross anymore, right? They don't even have pit boards, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell my mechanic, you don't need to bring that. There's no reason. I won't even look at you one time, I promise.
Yeah, exactly. So I know, like, there's a lot less, I don't want to say a lot less thought into it, but it's more like we got to do what we have to do, which is ride well and just do our normal thing. And we're not doing calculations and math while we're riding. I hear that a lot. So that explains a lot.
Right.
Everyone was wondering why you went for it. You didn't know.
I didn't know. I thought I had to beat him, and like I said, I saw my opportunity right there. We were all very, very close, but it was a bonehead move, and I guess one of the go up in flames. I went down in flames, or whatever you want to say. It all went up in smoke right there. That's for sure.
Okay, so yeah, the next 2 years have to be frustrating, especially last year missing it all. I mean, were you ever starting to doubt that this was going to work out? I mean, with an entire year missed, it's pretty gnarly. Were you worried when you got back on the bike or whatnot that it wasn't going to be quite the same?
Yeah, just when I got hurt at the second round, honestly, leading up to the season, I had been injured several times that no one knows about. I mean, I went through a really bad neck injury right around Monster Cup time. So I wasn't even sure after I hurt my ankle last year if I wanted to ride anymore at all. I was just so down and just so many injuries in a row that I was just like, God, man, do I really want to keep putting my body, myself, mentally, physically, just everything through this? You know, is it worth it? And just everyone behind me, including myself, like I said, I couldn't give up on myself, knowing that I was so close, and I've always had the speed, and you know, I give it 100%. So I was like, look, you know, let's pull ourselves together. And to get back on the bike in 17, yeah, it was tough. When I got back on it, it was way harder than I thought it was going to be. My ankle was really sore for a long time. I mean, it was tender to even put the boot on. So to get back to where I needed to be was definitely a work in progress. And then, like I said, to come into the season with a broken scapula in my right shoulder, I was like, this is, you know, not how I wanted to come into the season, because I just wanted to come in, you know, smooth sailing and just kind of get through the first half of it and then ramp up at the end. But, yeah, I just had to soldier through the first 4 races and got some wins. Me and my teammate Gavin Faith were going at it, and we were both riding really, really good. So just kind of got through that and tried to lay the heat on at the end.
Does it put more pressure on when you find out, oh, by the way, this will be your last chance because this series is not coming back?
I feel like I've always had the pressure on myself. I put it on myself to seal the deal for Denny Bartz and the whole Babbitt's Online crew, just because how much they've always backed me. You know, I was so close in 2015, so I just feel like I've always had that added pressure on myself. I put it on myself just to repay them for everything that they've done for me. I mean, I started riding for them in 15, so to be able to seal the deal and be able to repay them with a championship feels incredible and honestly more rewarding than anything just to repay those guys.
Right, so you were already at max pressure. You couldn't add to it by knowing it was the last season. You were already as much as you could be.
Yeah, I was already emotionally drained, and then especially when he laid me on that at Reno that, hey, this is Vegas will be the last Arenacross ever. I'm like, oh, wow, well, let's just go ahead and tack another 5% on of added pressure.
Do you have any indication what comes next? I mean, they've said that they're going to have the Arenacross Futures class, which is amateur racing. But do you even know too much about that? I mean, there's not going to be a points-paying championship in that division or anything like that, right? It's Supercross or bust.
Your guess is as good as mine. I am honestly up in the air with it. I was so focused on sealing the deal in 2018 and getting that title that I don't even think I had a conversation about anything other than racing for the title. So it was just like, once it was over, I said, you know, I appreciate each and every one of your support and all that you've done for me, and I just went home, and I'm honestly right back to work. I want to do some outdoors. I've talked to some teams about doing outdoors. Yeah, it was great to win the title and, you know, check that off my list, but like I said, I want to be racing Supercross and racing the Pro Motocross outdoor racing, and that's where I see myself. I just haven't been able to get there just yet.
Yeah, so I was wondering that. So after Vegas, it wasn't like, well, I guess I have the rest of my life off, so I'm going to party for the next week. You just went home and worked.
No, it was put all the money in the bank, had a nice dinner with my friends and my family, and came back home, and I've been right back to the program, riding outdoors already and just trying to get myself prepared. Like I said, I've talked to a couple teams that said if anything happens that I'm the first person that they're going to call. And I obviously don't want anyone to get hurt. I would never want that to happen. But I'm going to try to be prepared if anything does happen. And I honestly want to go race some races on my own just to go out there and show people what I can do.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix in Arenacross. I did the TV show for a long time in there, and there's guys like you who raced regular motocross like everybody else growing up. But then there's this other group, and they're almost always from Ohio, of dudes who it's like they know Arenacross. And I've never even seen or heard of them at a regular motocross race, and I don't even know if they've ever lined up for a national. But, oh, my God, do they know how to ride Arenacross. So I guess for you, it's almost like you want to rebrand yourself as like, I'm not an Arenacross specialist. I grew up racing Loretta's and the big amateur motocross races just like everybody else. I'm not just an Arenacross guy.
Yeah, people kind of brand me as that just because that's all I've ever done, but that's all, you know, I was given an opportunity to do. Like I said, a buddy bought a bike for me to go in 2014 and give it a shot for the first four, and then obviously, you know, did well, so I got a ride with the tough guys, and that's really all I've been able to do. I've been, like I said, talked about, and we've talked to other teams during my Arenacross career, but like I said, due to injuries or not the right time or them picking another rider, I just haven't been able to make that step to Supercross. But no, I mean, I find myself, which is going to sound really weird, but I find myself a better Supercross rider than I do Arenacross. I feel like I have a little bit of a hard time like slowing myself down to do this, you know, triple rhythm and then right back down the next starting line straight away. Like everything is so tight and happening so quick that I tend to like the Supercross stuff better, and then people are like, oh, wow, you can ride Supercross? I'm like, well, yeah.
What is the program? You're in North Carolina here like I am. I mean, where are you riding? And one thing I'm always confused with, are you actually practicing on an actual Arenacross-style track or no?
So I do both. I mix it up with Cooper being right down the road from me. I try to ride with him as much as possible. I mean, he's here, there, everywhere, but both of us really are. And I like to ride Supercross with him. And then I do have two Arenacross tracks that I ride. They're both different. Combine both of them and do both one day, and then go Supercross with Cooper and just keep it fun and light. I mean, it's riding dirt bikes, so anytime we're doing that is a good time, and I like all of it.
Oh, so there you go. So you're doing Supercross laps with Cooper Webb and kind of his gang that races Supercross every weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you have a much better idea of where you fit in than people probably realize. You're riding with dudes that are good at Supercross, so I'm sure you have a general idea of where you fit in.
Yes, yes. No, especially, like I said, before we even start the season, we go out to California and test with all the PC boys and at the Cowie tracks and stuff like that. So, yeah, I definitely have some Supercross under my belt. And it's not like, if I go out there the first one, I'm going to go out there and, try to, hey, this is a learning curve. No, I'm 24. I'm going out there to make a statement, put it on the box, and win one of those suckers. I'm not trying to go in there and just kind of slowly work myself in there.
Well, bro, I would say don't get cocky here, but you said you were going to battle with Bowers, and you did. So, I whatever you say, I'm going to take your word for it.
All right.
Okay. How did that work out? Like, look, man, that's crazy when you come into a series like that and you're immediately banging bars with the champ. And Bowers, he likes to play those games. So, was there heat between you, or was that actually like you got more respect because you came in and immediately are like, this is how we're supposed to do it, right? I'm not scared. Or was he pissed?
I thought he was going to be really pissed, but he came up to me and was like, dude, you're riding really good, especially this was right after when we both got into it in one of the turns where we both went down. And he came up right after that. I was like, dude, you're riding so good. So I think I got more respect. I kind of gained his respect because I went in there and wasn't afraid to bump and mix it up with those guys, which I wasn't. Like I said, I had made my statement, and I knew where I wanted to be and where I needed to be, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me.
You and I got to go to lunch like a few months ago, and it was hilarious hearing these Arenacross stories. I don't know if people that don't follow it realize, like, what animals you guys are. Like, what is considered contact and block passing, and what's cool is, like, a whole different level than what we're used to in Supercross. Dude, there would be, like, internet meltdowns every week if this stuff was going on in Supercross. You guys are nuts sometimes.
I know. I watched, I want to say where Tomac and Musquin got into it, and I'm like, why is everyone so upset? I'm like, this happened, like, for 15th place in Arenacross. Like, you guys have no idea. Like, I was for a 450 Supercross main event win, and, like, people are doing that for the final transfer spot in the heat race.
Like, for real. Like, that type of pass is, like, no big deal in Arenacross.
Yes. No big deal. Everyone just walks off the tracks like, dude, you had to do what you had to do. That's what they say.
So they don't even get mad?
No, I mean, sometimes they do, but then sometimes they're like, wow, man, if the roles would have been reversed, I would have done the same thing to you, so I can't really get that mad.
And one thing I always say about that is when you're hitting someone in a 180-degree turn where you're not really going that fast and you're on the ground, like, how often do people actually get hurt from those moves? Doesn't seem like it's a lot.
I wouldn't say a lot. Out of my Arenacross career, with the bumping I've done, I personally don't think I've injured anyone, nor have I injured myself during, rubbing. I think it's been, it's been aggressive, but like you said, the speeds are down, so it hasn't been too violent. It looks violent, but it hasn't been violent on the body.
Yeah, it definitely happens, and I think Bowers himself got jacked up by Barsha over the weekend in Vegas, but I always feel like when there's these arguments over block passes or T-bones or whatever you want to call them, people are like, it's dangerous enough, we don't need to add that. And I'm like, I get that, but honestly, it doesn't really result in injuries. It's like out of every 100 passes like that, a guy gets hurt.
Right.
Do you ever actually fear that? Like, I'm going to get my leg broken? Or is it like, no, we just hit, we're good?
Yeah, we just bump. I mean, I go in there and just bump, and if I get slammed, then I shouldn't have left the door open, I guess.
What was that? Were you involved in that Ghost Rider? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I should have been fast enough to not be vulnerable to get slammed. You know what I mean?
There you go. There you go. Don't get caught, right?
Exactly. If you're going to go out there and play that game, then you better be ready to play back. You know what I mean? If I would never sit here and get mad at someone because they came in and bumped me, because I would go in and do the same thing. I'm an aggressive rider, and I put, everything I have into this. I work so hard during the week, and I've sacrificed track, and to be kind of watered down and not give it my all would be just disappointing to myself. I would walk home with my head down, you know what I mean, saying like, what is wrong with you? You didn't even try, you know what I'm saying?
It was weird because when I hung out with you, I'm like, I'm used to what the Supercross guys are like. Like, I'm never going to bring up Marvin to Eli Tomac in casual conversation because he's probably going to shoot daggers and like steam's going to come out of his ears. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. So I'm like, don't talk about any of these moves. These guys are going to get pissed off. Don't bring up any of these crashes. And then you're like open book. You're like, yeah, remember when I did that interview and Bowers and I ran into each other? And then what was that ghost ride clip that you showed
Yeah, it was
me?
round one. It was round one. Me and another rider got into it. I bumped him, and then I came around, and he just felt like ghost riding the whip into me. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy in there.
And again, you did not want to fight the guy even after that?
Well, we probably won't talk about that.
Okay.
No,
there is a limit. There is a limit.
Yeah, after that was all said and done with, I just thought he came in and bumped me, and then everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, did you see what he did to you?" I'm like, "Yeah, he bumped me. What are you guys talking about?" They're like, "No, he ghost rode his bike into you," and I was like, "Whoa, okay, that takes it to a different level there." Okay, he would have come in and bumped me and whatever. I'd have been like, "All right, I understand," but ghost riding the whip was a little different.
Okay, all right. So there is a line that can be crossed. Don't ghost ride.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, you're not only endangering himself, myself, but I mean, everyone in the arena. I mean, he could have missed my bike completely and gone over the tough box and hit the mechanics. That was definitely a little bit on the dangerous side.
How good are you guys at this though? Like when there's all these passes and it doesn't result in injury, is that because you're actually able to like pinpoint like, no, I'm gonna hit his front tire or my front tire. I'm not gonna touch his leg. Like I'm gonna hit him in the radiator shroud, but not his hip. Like, are you guys? Is it just luck that this doesn't happen, or you guys know exactly what you're doing, how to do it, but not kill the guy?
I've learned a lot from Tyler Bowers. I think he was one of the best at doing that, just because he did know where to put himself to where he wouldn't get caught while bumping. So with the head-to-head challenges, those 2-lap races, I mean, it really gives you an opportunity to learn, like, hey, I need to be able to bump here so I can get away and it can hold them up. So, yeah, I mean, over the years, I guess you could say I have learned how to put my bike in a position to where, hey, like, if I bump him right here, we won't both go down, or, it is weird how I kind of know it and have a sense of it, but it's not like I just go in there and just Rambo and just trying to slam people.
Yeah, it's not straight sending it. Not straight sending it, just partially. Yeah, that's right. I'll give you a little sales pitch here for yourself, because when Bowers first came to Supercross, not only was he really good, and we'll get into that, he was definitely fast, and I think that helps all the Arenacross guys. But what I noticed is, dude, he would tell me if he got like an 8th place start, he could pass 6 dudes in the first 2 turns just because of that Arenacross knowledge. He's like, I don't know why guys don't go for it in the first lap. I saw an opening, and I was able to pass 6 guys because they're just kind of waiting around, which you would never do in Arenacross. So there's your sales pitch. Tell all these teams you have that. I'm assuming you would have that skill as well, right?
Yes, I mean, for many years we had to do pick those briefcases, so we would have to start on the back row, sometimes, and it made it to where it was like you come off the gate, and if you saw, like Tyler said, if you saw an opening, you would take it. I mean, you would do anything to get through those guys and get up to the front to have another good main event. So in Supercross, with it being a little bit more room, a little bit longer of lap times, heck yeah. I mean, you get off to a, 10th, 8th place start, send it on the first lap and find yourself in 4th or something like that.
What's the best you ever did from the back row start? Had you ever started in the back row and then you're like, oh my God, I'm in 2nd? Like, did that ever happen?
I want to say it was in 2014. I started on the back row. Me and Tyler both started on the back row, and we ended up finishing 1st and 2nd. And I'm talking like it was like a mad dash to get away from him so I could just hopefully win the main event. I was just try to go as fast as you can for as long as you can. And I'm talking like when I was saying sending it, I was sending it just wide open, full send.
And it worked?
So, yeah, it worked. It did. He didn't catch me, which was good.
Okay. Running from the bear.
Yes, I was running.
Running from the bear.
Yeah.
So it had to be encouraging for, I would think, everyone in Arenacross, because when Tyler came over, I'm like, okay, he's definitely going to be consistent. He's going to know how to score points. He's won a lot of titles. He's going to be good on the track as far as these passes we're talking about. But the one thing that really impressed me was he had legit, like, raw speed, like, right off the bat. Like, in qualifying, he would usually be 1st or 2nd. And I think that was the one thing, especially because he was a bigger dude, that people weren't sure, like, okay, he knows how to race, but does he have speed? So that's got to be encouraging for you or anyone that wants to make the jump. Like, he was on a good level as soon as he came over.
Definitely. I mean, it's like I said. I mean, we're all really good in Arenacross. We all have a lot of speed, and I see myself racing those guys. And I mean, I could go in. It was like Tyler. Tyler didn't need to go in there and kind of learn the ropes. He had already learned so much in Arenacross, and I think he did do some Supercrosses before Arenacross, or I'm not really sure how it went for him. But it was just like he didn't need to come in there and figure it out, and it would be the same for me. I mean, it's not like I'm going to come in there and be like, oh, I'm hoping to learn here and then build the next weekend. No, I'm coming in there to put it up front right off the bat, and I feel like that's what makes me, such a, I guess, a high prospect. Like, hopefully teams look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not a rookie trying to learn here. Yeah.
Right. No, I mean, yeah, I haven't done any Supercrosses, but I have so much experience with Arenacross and riding Supercross during the week, and I feel my speed is really, really good. That, like I said, it would be going in there and getting the job done right off the bat, the same as I did in Arenacross.
Okay, so you had a good ride in Arenacross most of the time you were there, except for that first year where you were borrowing a buddy's bike, and then this year you won the title, so I'm sure there's a nice bonus that comes with that. Okay, in these last few years of Arenacross, were you, like, legitimately making, like, a good living on it? Were you just scraping by? Were you not? Like, how does that – I don't think people really know how it works on that side. So what was your position the last couple of years, being one of the top guys on the top team? Were you making money?
Yeah, I was making good money in 15. I would have made a lot better if I'd have won the title instead of making a bonehead move. But, no, 15 and 16 was really, really good. Even in 14, I mean, I did well for myself. But in 15 and 16, I did good. Obviously, missing out in 17, I didn't do well for myself. But this year, it pays really, really good. And it's sad to see it go away just for everyone in Arenacross, all the other riders and stuff like that. But like I said, for me, it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. But yeah, I mean, I made a really good living racing Arenacross for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's good for you, but right, it's going to be a bummer. I mean, you might get a ride, but there's 15 other guys that probably need work now. So this is going to be a tough stretch.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it is. Like I said, it is a bummer for everyone that put on the event in Arenacross. They were all such amazing people, and everyone, all the riders. I mean, there's so many people I can name off that that you're like, oh my gosh, like now, like what would be the next step? And even for me right now, I'm trying to figure it out and talking to teams about next year and just trying to sell myself. Yeah, it's a bummer, but hopefully it works out.
Okay, talk about going into the finale this year. You were once again, you and Blows, I believe, were practically tied again, just like you were at Regal a few years ago, correct?
I was 1 point behind him going into Vegas.
Right. So what is that? What's that pressure like, especially when you've already been through this once before and you know what can go right and what can go wrong? It was
different. In 15, I was a nervous wreck. I don't even think I could eat my breakfast that morning. And then this year, it was just like I was almost calm in a weird way. Like I can only go out there and do so much. I can go out there and give it 100%. And I knew if I went out there and gave it 100% and everything was good, that I would end up on top. And that was calming for me. You know, I had already been in that position, so I knew how to handle it. So everyone on the team, Denny, my mechanic Rob, Eddie was there. They were just like, just do what you've been doing all season, which they were right. It's just another race. I know there was definitely a lot on the line, but all I could do was go out there and give it 100%, and that's what I did. And it was horrible to see Chris go down like that in the heat race. I think we were both prepared to battle it down to the very, very end, and that's how I wanted to win it. But, you know, it's racing dirt bikes. Anything can happen. So we were able to walk away with the title, which is awesome.
Yeah, he ended up, like, getting hurt, hurting his knee, like, all by himself, like it's in a heat race, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I watched the first 2 laps, and I was like, oh, Chris has got this. He'll bring it home. And then someone on the team came back and said Chris is down. I was like, what do you mean Chris is down? I think it was in the later stages of the race. There was a weird triple. You did the whoops, and it was a right-hander, and the 3 in, and the face was really, really sharp. And if you see bounce bent the wrong way, it definitely would throw you into an immediate endo, and I think that's what he did, and he landed on his knee wrong, and I'm not exactly sure what happened to his knee, but he wasn't able to continue the night.
But how much did you know at that time? And you're like, okay, he's out, or do you not know that? What kind of information did you get when it was time to race?
So it was like, let's go to the head-to-head. I obviously wanted to win the head-to-head, and then once he didn't line up for the LCQ, I knew that we had mathematically wrapped it up just because I had, I think, 35 points on the next guy. So mathematically, before I even had done a lap in the main event, I had wrapped it up, which was hard because I'm like, all right, well, let's go ahead and let's get the champagne popping. But I had 30 more laps to do. So I was like, all right, let's just, let's try to treat this like a practice day and go out here and have some fun. And that's what we did. And me and Jacob Williamson had a good little battle in the first main event. I led half of it, and then I saw that he was close, and I was getting a little sketchy in the loops, and I was just like, okay, you can go for it. I'll just follow you in for this one. And then the second one, I was able to win it and finish the Arenacross out on top.
Yeah, it has to be weird to race. How many times you've ever gone to a race under those circumstances where it's like, the result doesn't actually matter now. You're going to still win the title. Like, that had to be weird to square up with that.
I don't think that's been ever happened for me. I mean, I remember racing for a Loretta Lynch championship in 2009 with Savacci, Bogle, Peters, Brad Frace, and it was like whoever won the moto won the title, and it was a pressure no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is not that.
So, no, I had never really, I'd been in the position to have the pressure on, and hey, it was a must win, but I've never been in the position where, hey, you already have won, so I was like, all right, well, do I just go out here and ride around, or do you guys want me to win? Like, what's the deal here?
Now, I did see, I was at the Hard Rock, the Circle Bar, as you have to do when you're in Vegas, and all of a sudden I see Stank Dog roll in, and I'm like, Arenacross is over. Stank Dog's at the bar. So give me an idea. What goes on? Arenacross got some gnarly stories. What goes on at these races when they're done?
What goes on in Arenacross? Oh, I don't know if you guys want to hear all this.
Do you get involved with this, or are you straight racing?
Well, probably shouldn't let the sponsors hear this, but in 14, me and Kyle Regal definitely had a good time. We were teammates, so after the races were all said and done with, we would go out and have ourselves a good time. And then in 15, Denny told me I had to turn that down a little bit. I could still enjoy myself after, a win on the night, but I had to turn it down. But then this year, I think with age, I just didn't find any joy in going out after the races. It's business. I'm here to win the race and go back home and get back to work. And I felt like there was so much on the line this year just with myself and the team that I didn't even want to go out and enjoy it. I was going to enjoy it once Vegas was over and once I had the title. And, heck, I didn't even go out and enjoy it after that. Like I said, we went out and had, a nice dinner with everyone, but it was straight back to work.
No Circle Bar with Stank Dog at all?
No Circle Bar with Stank Dog. I think we went to the Monster Party at the Hard Rock, so I guess I can't say I completely missed the whole party scene. But, yeah, I was there. Didn't get too wild, just kept it casual. Saw AP there, was happy for him. He wrapped up the Supercross title, so that was awesome to see. And, yeah, just had a good night.
That's interesting. So you and Regal, the year before that you tangled for the title, you guys were like super buds?
Yeah, I stayed at his house, I want to say, like a month during the season, just training and riding with him. And, yeah, we were really, really close in 2014.
Wow. Okay, so then in 15 you were slugging it out for the title. What happens then?
I guess I'm really good at just kind of separating friendship and then putting your helmet on, because when you go out there on the track, let's be honest, it's only yourself, and you're racing for money, pride, and everything. So I feel like you have to separate that friendship and go out there and get the job done, because, I mean, it's not only me that I have to live up to, but it's the team, and Denny wants me winning, and people like that. So it's not like I can just go out there and be like, oh my gosh, that's my best friend. I can't make this pass.
Right. So, but you were able to also not go too far, and you're actually able to be friends with the guys you have to beat.
Right. Yes.
Yep.
I mean, me and Chris were not 17, but 16. We were roommates. Well, half of 15, and then all of 16 we were roommates. And then this year, obviously, good friends going for the title. And I I think both of us did a really good job of separating friendship and racing, and, got the job done.
That just sounds so Arenacross. You always hear that. Guys slamming each other, their buddies. Maybe you weren't at the bar with Stank Dog, but it just seems like there's camaraderie there that you maybe don't get at other types of racing. I've always heard about Arenacross guys get along better than competitors in
Wonder why is that? Why do you think? Why? I mean, I've heard the same thing.
Yeah, my part of it is I wonder how much the outside influence messes things up. I've always felt like the racers themselves are always pretty cool, but then once all these other people start telling them things, and then the more famous you get, the more isolated you get, where now you're not getting the info direct from the guy, you're just hearing like your man friend or your mechanic or the wife or the girlfriend's like, I heard this guy said this about you, and that's never accurate. So I think once there's more people involved, I think that's part of what messes it up. You're probably just dealing with these guys on a one-to-one basis in the pits. Aren't you guys pitted like right next to each other half the time?
Yeah, I mean, literally side by side most of the time.
Right. I guarantee you that, just an example of Tomac and Muscan, they probably never make eye contact for 3 months in a row. Like they're in the same races, but they probably never even really see each other. They're in two separate ends of the pits. They're surrounded by their people. They're in their semi and their motorhome. I think that's probably a big part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. Just be friendly when you come over.
All right. So be friendly, shake and wave and smile to everyone, and then everyone's gonna do the same back. Is what you're saying?
Or actually, maybe you want to play it the other way around. Maybe you want to hide. Get a fun mover and hide.
All right. So what are the must-haves to go into Supercross? Like, do I need man friend? Like, what do I need here?
Well, look, this is not something you can just buy. Or maybe only in Vegas, but you really need a girlfriend to like get involved, like way too involved in your program. I think that's one of the first keys. She's got to be like agent, trainer, coach, and most importantly, deflector of all blame. So can you dial that in?
I don't know. That sounds like a lot of money going out. I'm really stingy with my money. Like, I don't know if I can pay an agent, a man friend, a deflector, like everyone. Like, that'd be like a lot of plane tickets, right?
I don't know how people do that, by the way. I always wonder. I'm like, wait, are these people seriously buying 3 plane tickets times 30 races? That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like I said, I'm really tight, so like I just go to the race by myself and rely on Denny and my mechanic to give me the information I need, and I'm just like, all right, I'll handle the rest. Like, if I need to clean my goggles, then I'll get the job done.
Oh. Clean your own goggles. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I got to do that. Yeah,
well,
definitely got to do that.
Cleaning, they're not even supposed to be cleaning involved. There's just supposed to be a new set handed to you every time. There's never any cleaning. It's unbelievable.
Hey, I got a story about this then.
Okay.
So I attempted to race Monster Cup this past year. Mm-hmm. So I made it out of practice into the night show, and I think we were wearing shoey helmets at the moment, and a shoey guy came over and was like, hey, I'll clean your helmet. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I got it. I'm normally used to it. He goes, no, fine, I'll clean them. And then Alpine Star people came over, and they're like, hey, you want me to clean your boots? I was like, what do you mean? Like, do you want me to take them off and, like, clean them for you? Or, like, they're like, no, you just sit in a chair and we'll clean them. I was like, wait, excuse me? Like, you're going to make, like, you want me to sit down in the chair, and then you guys are going to sit here and scrub my boots? They're like, oh, yeah, we do it all the time. I was like, all right, like, this is definitely what I'm not used to, but I'll sit down and let you guys scrub the boots off. And then, like you said, there was a new pair of goggles every time. And then I was at the finale this past Saturday, and right before the main event, the 250 main event, they're just chucking goggles. Like, you see goggles getting thrown up in the air, and then, like, they're getting handed another pair. I'm like, where are all these goggles going?
You probably want to grab some. I could use some.
Yeah, I'm like, gosh, I need some right now, yeah.
Okay.
So it's definitely a different world, for sure.
That might be your best sales pitch you can possibly have. Say, look, man, I'm not bringing any drama. I'm just bringing myself, and you're not going to have to deal with all these other people.
Yeah, like, I mean, I will take the goggles. You know, if you guys want to give me a brand new pair of goggles before I go out every single time, I'll definitely take it. But if I need to clean some too, I can do that as well.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know. You're going to end up, it's going to blow the minds of anyone you're pitting with, like anyone else in the truck. They'll be like, are you touching your own goggles? What is this?
What's this guy doing? Like, tell someone to tell him to stop doing whatever he's doing.
The other thing I will say is different, and this is where Supercross is different than the amateurs or Arenacross or anything else. It's just that there's more scrutiny. There's more people watching. There's more people reviewing every single thing and then talking about it on comments or social media or YouTube comments, whatever. So I think that's also a reason like things get blown out of proportion. And obviously we get blamed a lot. They're like, you guys blew the Muscan Tomac thing up. And I'm like, dude, you should have seen the comment section. Like, people cannot get enough of it. And as you're saying, that's literally a pass that happens every week in Arenacross. Same thing. And it just doesn't have all this heat and all this drama. So I think that's also one of the main reasons. It's tough to have all that going on. Even though riders are going to say they're not paying attention and they're blocking it out, I don't know how you can. They probably know. How do you not go on social media and hear 50 people saying F you for taking this guy out? It's got to make an impact.
It does. I mean, like you said, though, I think there's a lot more people involved in Supercross. I mean, there's a lot more eyes watching every single person, every rider, every lap. Slow-mo videos from all different angles.
Yep.
So it definitely magnifies what happens to where in Arenacross, I don't think there is as many, media people, so many different angles, slow-mo, all that involved. But, yeah, I think, like you said, there's a lot of people that get involved in Supercross that maybe, I don't want to say make it a bigger deal than it needs to be, but it definitely makes it seem a lot bigger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when there's a little bit of drama, it definitely stirs it up more by having that many
people. It does.
Involved. Yeah. Although,
yeah, like I think it happened in practice at Vegas. Mookie and Anderson got into it, and it was like that was all I heard about for like 30 minutes on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm like, they bump like, it's like you said, there's so many eyes on everyone that you hear a lot more about it.
Yeah, I saw that. That was like total accident. Like there was no intent for Mookie to take him out.
No, not at all.
No. So the pits though in Arenacross, that is the way you're set up, right? Like I've been to a lot of these. Is it like that every week? It's just a couple of those steel fences, and otherwise you guys are all in the same area together?
Yeah, it's I mean, I think I've not been very happy with certain riders, and I've told the team, like, hey, is there any way we cannot pit right across the road from him, or 5 feet in front of him, where when I come off the track and I take my helmet off, I'm not just staring this guy directly in the eyes. But it just happens like that every single weekend. I mean, we're all pitted really, really close. Most of the time, the whole podium, I mean, there in the beginning part of the season, Gavin's pitted right beside me, and then Chris was directly right in front of us, so it's like the podium is within 5 feet. So, yeah, you're just shaking hands with everybody.
That might be the biggest factor of all. Like, it's hard to mean mug someone for 5 straight hours in the pits, so you might as well just be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you might as well just get over with it, and say, all right, the race is over now. I got to stare at this guy right across from me, so there's no point of trying to fist fight after the race.
My last thing here is when I talked to you the last time, and I think you're still working on it now, you've just been running the straight moto van game, but it sounds like you want to put a little style in your program. Is that one of the things you're working on right now?
I'm trying. I really am trying. I'm upgrading the moto van, getting some new tires put on it. It's been long overdue. I have no idea how they made it through the season. I was just like, all right, tires. I spoke to my tires. I was like, look, if you can get me through the season, I promise I'll get some new ones. So I'm getting new tires put on. So yesterday I'm like, all right, I'm going to go look at a new truck. Mm-hmm. So I go look at this truck and get it all, the price the way I want it and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, well, I can't finish the job today. I can't, sign everything today. I said, I'll be back tomorrow. I said, can I call you in the morning? The guy's like, yep, call me in the morning. Still trying to get a hold of him to up my game and get away from the motovan. Yes, I will still have the motovan, but I'm trying to, up my game where I have a nice casual truck to drive around in. And I can't get a hold of the guy. So it's like I'm trying to do a good thing here and just venture away from the motovan life, but I just feel like someone's trying to keep me in it.
What? Yeah, you got a car salesman who doesn't want to sell a car? What?
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah,
he must have gotten really sick or something.
You got bad mojo. They usually don't leave you alone.
For real. I know. I haven't gotten one phone call. I've called him 3 times, so I feel like I'm the salesman hitting this guy up trying to sell the truck to myself.
Maybe the deal's too good.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he, once I left yesterday, he's like, this kid's an idiot for walking away. I'm just going to sell it out for underneath him.
Maybe. Yeah, look, I think you had mentioned this. When you're only running the moto van, that's all you've got. I mean, we all know as moto guys, the van has a definite use, and it's functional and it's cool. But I don't think the chicks dig the van. So What is that like? Have you ever had to take somebody out on the date with the van and be like, yeah, this is it. This is my whip. It's a van.
Many times, and I'm not gonna lie. They're like, oh, okay. You know, you get some that are cool with it, and then you get some that are like, well, we'll go on this date, but this is pretty much the deal breaker, so we'll talk to you later.
Does it have any windows?
It's got two. It's got the front two windows. That's it.
In the back?
So none in the back.
Oh, okay.
It's just all sealed off. You can't. It's got a wall in the middle, and then the back windows are there, but you cannot see in or out of them. So they might as well not even be there.
Well, the chicks might as well not be in that case. If I were like a dad and dude comes rolling up and this is his vehicle, he's gonna take her out, and I'm like, no, you're not going with some stranger guy with a van with no windows.
I'm just an innocent little dirt bike guy. That's all I do is ride dirt bikes. I got a van just so I can get my dirt bike to and from the track without people trying to steal stuff out of the back of my truck. But people are like, gosh, why are you driving the race van? Like, this is wrong. Like, you need to get a different, like, go get a Prius or something. I'm like, nah, I got to keep the van.
Okay, so now you're going to attempt to step it up and have a truck too.
I am. I'm trying to up my game here.
Better with the chicks. Do you have a chick that you can transfer over to Supercross and have her start arguing with teams and stuff like that, or?
I do. Will definitely tell her no arguing with teams.
Okay.
No arguing with riders. I do have a chick.
Okay.
We've been together roughly like 5 months. She did the whole season with me and did really well. Handled everything really well. There was situations where there was high stress. A lot was going on, and she just sat back, cool, calm, and collected. So I think going to make her the transfer over to Supercross and see how it goes.
Yeah.
But I don't have any of the the man friends or the agents or the deflectors like that. Just the girlfriend.
Okay. No, that's good. Okay, yeah. She never went on social media and dropped bombs on some of the other riders you were racing with, and then you have to deal with it on the track.
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't say she dropped bombs on other riders, but there was people that were hating on myself. And she's like, hey, can I say this? And I approved what she could say because it was to a fan. So, yeah, she got on there a couple times and was not happy with certain people, but it was never with the riders.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Is that okay? Is that allowed?
Yeah, I think as long as it's not with the riders, I think you're okay. But it's when the wife cashes the check or writes the check and you're the one on the track that has to cash it. That's when I think it gets a little dangerous. So, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely told her she couldn't say anything to any of the riders, but if a fan had false news,
yes,
I let her know that she could go there and recorrect them. I think after the last round in Vegas, a guy commented on my photo and he said #chump, and she recorrected it to #champ. So just little stuff like that.
It was factually accurate. It's actually champ.
Yeah. So she was just recorrecting him. He might have had a typo error, or the phone might have just did something wrong. So she was just helping him out.
Okay. #champ, not chump. I got it.
Yeah. What does a chump even mean? Like, I don't even know. Like, what is a chump?
Dude, I think you're too young. Like, I think that was an insult term in like the 70s or something. Like, yeah.
Right.
I guess it's the opposite of a champ. A chump.
Okay. All right. Well, we recorrected him, and he didn't have anything else to say. So it might have been that he meant champ. So you never know.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe just my bad. I mistyped. Hey, so do you think this Supercross thing is going to work? Like, are you confident that you're going to find something, or are there going to be some sleepless nights over the next 5 months or so?
I really do hope it works, because I do feel confident that if I get on a motorcycle factory team with all the backing and all the support that goes into it, that I could come out swinging the Anaheim 1 and put it on the box, potentially win. I know that sounds cocky, but I have a lot of faith in myself, and I work really, really hard, and I know what I'm capable of. But if it doesn't work out, then you'll see me go full Arenacross and come in there privateer and still with the same goal. I feel I can mix it up with those guys regardless. And yes, obviously having factory backing is the goal for every up-and-coming rider. And I really, really hope that one of the teams sees my potential. But like I said, if nothing does work out, then we'll try to get out there and mix it up with those guys.
Oh, okay. So you're going to be out there one way or another. You're going for it.
I'm going for it.
Okay, we'll see what Supercross. We'll see what capacity or who you're riding with. It's the only question.
Right.
Cool.
Hopefully someone, fingers crossed.
Yeah, there's a lot of time between now and then. I think you made the right move. You went on the podium there in Vegas on Saturday night and told everybody, I'm looking for a ride. So they can't say they don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And then hopefully this helps.
Yeah.
Hopefully a lot of teams listen to this. Like I said, I've been in contact with pretty much all of them, letting them know that, hey, I'm looking for something. I'm willing to do whatever. You just tell me to jump, and I'll say how high. So that's what I'm looking to do.
Awesome. All right. Well, good luck with it. Maybe we'll even see it at a national or two.
All righty. Yeah,
Cool.
I hope so.
All right. Well, thanks for the time. It's been a solid hour. I wanted to get you on here because that conversation we had a couple months ago, I'm like, man, this is the kind of stuff people want to hear, talking moto vans, ghost riding, and you seem like a pretty good sport about it, which to me that's what Arenacross sadly was all about. I think you guys still have a pretty good time even though it's competitive, so that was cool.
Definitely.
Yep.
It was a good time. Glad talking to you guys, and we had some good laughs.
All right, man. We'll see you at the races somewhere, some way.
All right. See you guys soon.
So the question now really isn't what does the future hold for Jacob Hayes. I think he'll get a good ride next year in Supercross and show what he can do. What's the future of Arenacross? Will someone else revitalize or revive this series? Will someone else try to make a go of it? I'm pretty sure someone will. You know how it is. It's the same thing, be it riders or be it sports teams or, in this case, racing series. Someone is going to be on the sidelines saying, if I ran it, it would work. I'm better. No, I don't know if that's true, but I believe someone will take a swing at it, and you'll see Arenacross in some capacity in the future. But it will no longer be the Feld-owned Arenacross championship that we've come to know through the years. Again, I thought it was an awesome series, but they were not jamming the turnstiles, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. I do feel bad for everyone that raced in this series, and even more so probably everyone that worked in that series. They've got to figure out somewhere else to go. Supercross will probably absorb some of the riders, some of the sponsors, some of the teams, some of the employees, but for some of the Arenacross lifers, this is going to be tough. The only thing I wish Feld had not buried the news in like the 5th paragraph of a press release. A simple thank you for the efforts that were put in by these riders and teams and the people that worked the series, I think would go a long way. You can't hide it. The series is shutting down. There's no way to hide that. It's not going to exist next year, so there's no reason to hide. I would just throw out a simple thank you and say we're moving in another direction with the Supercross Futures amateur events. But we saw everything they did. They forced the top amateurs to go race. They were at the road to Supercross. They marketed the heck out of the thing. They put it on TV. They promoted it during Supercross. They put Ricky Carmichael in there. I know a lot of the Supercross head honchos were going to the events. They came up with the more intense logo and signature. I know you probably don't like the race to the championship chase style format. Fans hate that, but they tried it because it wasn't exactly killing it the other way. They moved the finale to Las Vegas in the same weekend of Supercross. They tried a lot of different things to try to get traction with the series. For whatever reason, it wasn't happening. And by the way, we have numbers to prove it right on our website. We could post anything we wanted on Arenacross, and people wouldn't read it. Unless we had clips of dudes taking each other out, which I think should have been the ultimate marketing hook for this series, but they didn't want to go in that direction. Just listen to Jacob Hayes. He don't care. Pump it up. So where's Arenacross going next? We'll see if someone tries to revitalize it and take their own series, and we'll see where Jacob Hayes ends up in Supercross next year. This has been the Yoshimura Exhaust Podcast, part of the RacerX Podcast Network. Check out yoshimura-rd.com for all of your four-stroke exhaust needs, be it street bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, anything else. Yoshimura's got you covered. They'll make horsepower and make your machine look and sound great. Also, thanks to RacerX brand, we've got a lot of cool new shirts. You probably don't think of us as a t-shirt company. Well, you should. We've got awesome stuff. I got a shirt on right now that has 1989 or 88 Osaka, Japan Supercross Damon Bradshaw High Point old school shirt. Yeah, it's rad. We got that too. Anyway, check us out on the web and buy RacerX the magazine. We needed to keep the lights on doing these pods. Thanks to Yoshimura, thanks to you, thanks to Jacob Hayes. See you next week. Outdoors are coming. See you then.